وجل.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.
وعليكم السلام ورحمة الله وبركاته.
In the name of Allah, the Beneficent, the Merciful, the Lord of the worlds, we thank Him, we adore Him, we glorify His holy name for His mercy and blessing on us. We seek for His mercy and blessing on Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. His peace and blessing continue to be upon His household, His companions, and all the Muslims to the day of Qiyamah. Inshallah, our class continues today. We are still with our book Kitabu Tawhid by Sheikh Al-Fawzan. Last week we stopped on the third section under the fourth chapter, where Sheikh was talking about the emergence of Bidiah in the history of Muslim or history of Islam. So how did it start? Where and what were the reasons for the Bidiah in Islam? We actually mentioned the emergence last week. And among other things that Sheikh pointed to is that this Bidiah we are talking about, the first one that started was actually during the time of Sahaba themselves. So he mentioned that the first set of Bidiah that was started, the first two Bidiah that emerged in Islam was the Bidiah of Tashayyu'u and Bidiah of Khawarij. So these are the first two, and this happened after the death of Uthman bin Affan, the third Khalifa after the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So the emergence of this Bidiah of Tashayyu'u and Khawarij, it started, and it was followed by a Bidiah of Haruriyya. So then later it was followed by the Bidiah of Qadariyya. So all this, they happened even during the time of Sahaba, the companion of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. But the type of Bidiah that started, and also the people that started it, and also the places that started them, they are very, very important and necessary academically. But for this kind of gathering, we will actually limit ourselves to the points of Bidiah. So what are the areas where Bidiah emerged? I mean, which area did we have Bidiah in Islam? So we actually limit ourselves to these areas because these are the important areas. So if we are talking about the people and the places and the time the Bidiah started, like I mentioned, academically it's very, very important for us to have a very logical and well-organized knowledge. But for the sake of this sitting, inshallah, like I mentioned, we limit ourselves to the actual Bidiah that were found in this set of people at the time that we just mentioned. So one of the areas where we have Bidiah among these people is the area that has to do with what? Sifatullahi. So this is one of the areas where we have Bidiah. Sifatullahi, that is the attribute of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And the type of Bidiah that we have here is actually that there are a group of people that argue about the nature of the attribute of Allah. Like Allah mentioned, it is well established in the Quran and Hadith that Allah says He has yad. He has wajhu, and He also mentioned al-istiwa about Himself. Allah says He has hand. Then Allah mentioned He has what? Face. So concerning this, the correct form of belief system we are supposed to have about this is that Allah mentioned that He has these attributes. All of the ones that are mentioned, including this one we have just mentioned now. So Allah said He has them. So the best way to have belief on this one is that Allah said He has it, and we believe He has it. But we should not attempt to ask about how and where and when. We should not attempt. So in other words, we should not attempt to ask what? The kayfiyya of the attribute. We should not attempt to ask how does it look like and when was it. So anytime we ask this question, it will actually lead. If for example, if we say when is the istiwa of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, so that means you are limiting Allah to what? To time. And Allah is outside time. Allah is not constrained with time. Allah created time. So in other words, if somebody said, when did Allah start existing? That is a big problem. The reason why it's a problem is that the word when is not related to Allah. Allah, He does not have beginning, and He does not have end. And more so, He created time when He intended to create it. When Allah is existing, Allah as a being, the time doesn't affect him. So now when somebody says when in relation to Allah, there will be problem. So the same thing, when Allah says is the word, we say how. Is it by sitting? Is it by balancing? And so on and so forth. It will create problem. So the best way to believe about this attribute is that we believe that Allah mentioned that He has this attribute, but how, kaifa, or we liken it to what? To His created features. So it will create problem. So if you do that, you become what? You become a mushabbihu. So you become somebody like liking the attribute of Allah to the attribute of what? Of the created being. So in other words, you should not attempt to believe or to think that the nature of Allah is like any other person or any other created being. Allah says, "Laisa kamithlihi shay'un wa huwa." So Allah is not like any other created being. He's not created. He does not have father. He does not have children. Like I mentioned, lam yalid wa lam. So it's not given birth to, and He does not give birth. And we actually try to understand some of the creation of Allah, that even those creation of Allah, we cannot understand them, let alone Allah Himself. When we say we cannot understand them, we mean we cannot comprehend their size or their true nature. If there's a creation of Allah, that their true nature cannot be by necessity understood by human being, how can you understand the nature of Allah Himself? So like if you are to see an angel now, and you are asked to describe the angel you see, you won't be able to describe it. Because its nature is beyond your what your eye can encompass. It's beyond what your brain can comprehend. So you cannot see the whole part of the angel. You cannot even see the true nature of the angel. So how can you describe something that you do not even have a complete knowledge about it? That is just an angel. And this angel, despite their size, we see have some of the creation of Allah that are bigger, far bigger than this. So if that is the case, then even about Allah Himself, we should not even talk about it. Because Himself, He does not have beginning and He does not have end. It is what is unlimited. It's not limited by anything. Allah, with reference to everything, is what is unlimited. So now, about the sifat of Allah, we have some group of people like Maturidiyya and Asha'ira. They try to do what is called Tahwil. Tawhid is when you try to give meaning or understanding to certain concepts in the Quran or in Islam. So, and about this attribute of Allah, there's a verse in Surah Al-Imran when Allah says, "Huwa alladhi anzala alayka al-kitaba minhu ayatun mukamatun kunna ummul kitab wa ukhra mutashabihat." So now Allah says He's the one that revealed the book. Allah says in this book there are what? There are verses that are mother of the book. That is mukamat. They are the basis of the book. Their meaning and their understanding is straightforward, and there's no ambiguity about it. There are some facts that if you are told, you will not understand it. They are allegorical. That is Allah is speaking to us in the language we understand. Because that is the language. Do you know that there are still some other creation of Allah that doesn't speak our language? Even animals, even insects, even ants, they communicate. They communicate. But they don't understand our own language. So now Allah is speaking our language because we understand it. And the best way for us to understand is to describe what He intends to tell us in our language. That does not mean because of that we should now limit Him to what we know. You know, by our nature, mankind, or all the creation of Allah, we tend to understand what we don't understand by what we understand. We tend to give meaning to what we don't know with what we know. And this is natural and this is correct. And that is why Allah Himself, He wants us to believe about Him, about His existence, about His power, about His ilm, by what we see. He said, "Inna fi khalqi samawati wa ikhtilafi al-layli wa nahar la ayatin li ulil albab." La ayatin mean there are signs for you to believe what Allah is saying. There are signs for you to believe Allah is existing. There are signs for you to know Allah's what? Allah have ilm, He has knowledge. These are signs. So which means Allah also wants us to what? To use what we see to understand what we don't see. To understand, to believe or to have knowledge about what we don't see. But there are some areas that we just believe about their name and whatever description they have given us. But we don't attempt to go beyond what we are told about it. Like Allah said, He has yad, He has hand, He has face. There are some attributes He gives that we also possess at our human level. So we should not in any way try to understand it using our own attributes or using what we see in ourselves. If we do that, applying the same principle, there will be problem. And that is what this verse we just mentioned now, that is what it's saying. That he said there are verses of the Quran that are what? Muhkamat. They are very straightforward. You actually does not need anything to understand it. But there are some that are what? Mutashabihat. And when we say mutashabihat, and when we say they are allegorical that we cannot understand it, like we mentioned last week, the meaning is not that Allah does not want us to understand it. The meaning is that we have limits. That's the meaning. The meaning is that you have limits. Even in this world, are there no things that if there is an attempt to explain it to you, say, that is too complex, it's more than my brain, I have a limit. Are there no things like that? Are there no things that when you get to it, somebody started to explain it to you, say, this is just beyond my understanding, I have a limit. It's not for me. So that is that is what the Mutashabihat is talking about. So when Allah is telling us that they are allegorical verse, that we should just take them the way we are told, we should not try to do Tawhid, it means it is complex for us to understand. It is beyond our comprehension. Not because Allah doesn't want to understand, but we have limits. There's limit to us. Even the angel, they can't comprehend it. Angels live in the what? They live in the heaven. They live in the heaven. That's their house. Isn't it? But there are creation of Allah that if you combine all the seven heavens, all the what? All the seven hearts, put them together, the space they will take within that creation of Allah is just like you throw a coin into the desert. Look at the description we give an angel now. And look at their numbers. They are in the heaven. The whole seven heavens, with whatever inside, put everything together. There are some creation of Allah that will contain it with what? Unlimited space. Even that there is still another creation of Allah that can still contain that with unlimited space left behind. Even that there is creation of Allah that can swallow that as big as it is. Now, this description we have just mentioned now, we just mentioned that even angel themselves, we cannot what? We cannot comprehend their true nature. If you have to see an angel, when Prophet was describing Jibreel, he said he actually saw him 2 times in his real nature. He said the first time he saw him was when he came to reveal the Surah to Mudaththir to Prophet Sallallahu. He was at the horizon, and he said when he came, he covered the whole horizon. He covered everywhere in the sky. And he sat on the throne, and he has 600 wings. So, can your eye see the whole of 600 wings? If not, because you are told. So if you are to be counting it, 600, not 100, not even 200. And we are not talking of wing of birds, of angel. That is. So this wing, apart from the size, even they are very strong. That when Jibreel was to destroy the place of Talut, when he was to destroy their township, he used the tip of his what? Of his wing to carry it up and turn it upside down. Just the tip of the wing. Can you describe that wing? This is just one of the angels. And the number of angels in the sky, they are more than the number of grain of sand you have on the earth. The number of grains of sand, grain, you know, sand is very small. Those grains, can you count the number of grains of sand? The number of angels of Allah in the heaven, they are more than that. Despite their size. And despite this size, so all of them put them together, they will be contained in the kursi of Allah. وَسِعَ كُرْسِيُّهُ السَّمَاوَاتِ وَالْأَرْضَ. And with the size of the kursi, it will be contained in the arsh of Allah. And even arsh, Allah says, still have some marj from the maruj of Allah that can swallow it. Now, if this is just the creation of Allah that we cannot even comprehend, not their size, not their true nature, not everything about it, except what we are told. That's the only thing we can understand about it. What about Allah Himself? Now, if Allah says, I has yadu, can we still be comparing to anything we know? Do you think it can resemble anything? So, but for these people, they say they try to do Tawhid. They say when Allah say He has Yadu, they say it means Ni'ma or Quwwa. Of course, Allah has Quwwa and He has Ni'ma, like He has described Himself. But there is no specific evidence that the Yadu of Allah in this context specifically means what? Quwwa. There's no specific evidence. And since there's no specific evidence, we limit ourselves to what we are told about what? About this attribute. And that is exactly what Allah is telling us in that same verse. Allah says, فَأَمَا الَّذِينَ آمَنُوا فَأَمَا الَّذِينَ فِي قُلُوبِهِمْ زَيْغٌ. They will be interested in the mutashabihat of the Quran. And they will be trying to do فَيَتَّبِعُونَ مَنْ تَشَابَهَ مِنْهُ ابْتِغَاءَ what? وَابْتِغَاءَ. They will be attempting to do Tawhid. They will say, Yadu here, it means Quwwa, but it means Ni'ma. When Allah says, Yadu Loi, Fawqa Aidihi, it means Quwwa to Loi, Fawqa Aidihi. How? So they will be doing to do Tawhid. And this Tawhid is a form of Bidiah. If it were to be part of religion, the first set of people that would have done it are the Sahaba. Like we said, there is no evidence for it. If there is evidence for it, we will not be sitting here regarding it or talking about it as what? As part of Bidiah. So, since the Sahaba did not talk about it, even the Tabi'un or Atba'ul Tabi'in, none of them mention or talk about it, then it becomes Bidiah automatically. Because if it is not Bidiah, the first set of people who will have described the Yadu of Allah to be Quwwa will have been what? They have been the Sahaba. The Quran it get to us through them. But the Hadith get to us through them. Religion of Allah get to us through what? وَكَذَلِكَ جَعَلْنَاكُمْ أُمَّةً لِتَكُونُوا وَيَكُونَ الرَّسُولُ عَلَيْكُمْ. So Prophet was a what? He was a witness, was a model to the Sahaba. And Sahaba, they are model to us. So anything we did not receive from them, any information that is not from them, so we don't use it. It is Bidiah automatically. It is satanic inspiration. It is from Shaitan. So in other words, about the sifat of Allah, the attribute of Allah, so there are some set of people that actually try to do what we call it, Tawhid. They do Tawhid, they try to give it meaning, that it is not literal. So like we said, these verses are called what? Mutashabihah. And for the Mutashabihah, you don't do Tawhid. That is what the verse says. And who are the people that do Tawhid according to the Quran about the Mutashabihat? Manhum alladhina fi qulubihim, those who are their heart is what? As deviated. Zayg mean when this is the right path, this is Sirat al-Mustaqim, straight, then you attempt to what? To deviate, to turn away from the right path. In other words, there is kufr, there is depression. So as if the father is saying they cannot be Muslim in the first place. And that is the danger. And of course, so anytime you try to give Allah attributes or name that is not His, it's very certain that you are going far away beyond your limits. And that is why we are not expected to give Allah name from ourselves. We are not expected to describe Allah from ourselves. We cannot get it correctly. It's not possible. Let's even stop from going far. Let's assume that somebody is existing and is a human being and is from Africa and is from Nigeria and is living somewhere. Can you describe that person? He said he's a human being, he's from Africa, he's from Nigeria. Now he says you should describe another person. Can you describe him? You need information to describe him. You can't. So, but this is Allah that we don't see, we don't know. So we only receive information. Now you are trying to give him name from yourself. You are trying to give him description from yourself. You cannot get it correctly. You just have to limit yourself to information you have about him. Define information, correct information. But today, we see people saying, of course, Allah said, He make our language to be different, so I can call Allah in my own language. Then I ask, I say, have you ever traveled to a place where people speak language that is different from your language? You say, yes. Has anybody attempted to translate your name to their language? Has anybody attempted to translate your own name to their what? Has it happened to you before? If they do, will you take it? Then why do you now think it's correct in case of Allah? Why do you think I will call Allah the name in my language? You are translating the name of Allah. And you know what? There is no single language. The word Allah, you see, Allahu. You cannot get one single word that will get the name correctly. Let me give you, if you don't understand the meaning of what you are saying, let's say the president of Nigeria, you understand? Or let's say somebody that have a big position. We are even going far. Let's say somebody is a professor, and you call him doctor. Will you be happy? See, you have reduced his what? Status. So if you attempt, the word Allah, like I told you, if you want to translate it, or you want to, so you will need, just one attribute to Allah, you will need at least 54 pages of book of able people to write it, and it will be satisfactory. You want to describe the word, the name what? Allah. Just that name. You will need at least 54. I say at least, that's not the end. At least 54 pages of book to write what is satisfactory. Now, somebody now use only one word. Would that name not be deficient? Will not be short of the reality? That is why you are not supposed to be calling him name he doesn't call himself. Because when you do, you will surely reduce the meaning and the importance of it. You reduce it by that name. And that is what? You are violating his what? His holiness. And for the angels, they don't do that. They limit themselves to what Allah said. لا يعصون الله ما أمرهم ويفعلونه. When Allah told them, إني جاعل في الأرض خليفة أتجعل فيها ما يفسدها ونحن ونقدس لك. We limit ourselves to what is yours. We do not go beyond it, and we do not go short of it. That is taqdees. Taqdees means limit yourself to what Allah says about himself. Do not go beyond it, and do not go what? Short of it. You can't even go beyond, because Allah himself does not have limits. It does not have limits. So about the sifat of Allah, like I have said, so there are people who attempted to change it, to translate it, and from there they fall into different errors. One of the errors is the error of tashbih. Tashbih means you liken Allah to what is great. Allah says, so Allah does not resemble, and we have just talked about Allah now. It cannot resemble everybody. So in other words, there will be what we call anthropomorphism. In other words, you liken Allah to creation. So if you say Allah does something like this, the word like this has make you to say Allah resemble what you are describing. You don't use like this for Allah. You say Allah do something like this. No. That is why you always need to limit yourself to what He says about Himself. So we have some people that actually try to do Tawhid. We have some people that want to do Ta'atil. Ta'atil means they even want to negate those attributes. But they do not say that is their intention, and even their presentation may not go straight. But if you look at it critically, that's the meaning. For example, we have some group, they said Allah become Khaliq when He started to what? To create. Which means the attribute of Khaliq is not part of Him before, until when He started to what? To create. But Allah Himself, He does not have beginning, and He does not have what? So if He does not have beginning and end, it means His attributes also will not have what? Beginning and end. And Khaliq is part of His what? Attributes and names, isn't it? So it's not supposed to have beginning and end. But we have some people now, they say no. He became Khaliq the time He... So in other words, we assume the quality when He started to do it. So that is Ta'atil actually. And you are also doing another thing. You are limiting Allah to time. Well, Allah is outside time. He's not bound by time, like you have said. He created time. He created space. Bidiah samawati, fatir samawati. He created them when He intends to do. We are only affected by time. Time doesn't affect Allah. It's outside time. It's outside creation. It's outside everything He created. It's outside everything. When we say Allah is samahi, it does not mean dakhil what? It does not mean inside sama. Like we mentioned, that you see, when they say Allah is above the seventh heaven, that seventh heaven actually does not mean a space above the what? So the space is far beyond that particular place in the seventh heaven. Like if you have to combine all the space from the whole seventh heaven and the whole 7 earth, and the spaces between them, you have to combine everything together. Then there's another space where you have another creation of Allah. Now after that, you have the water, massive water. Like Allah said, Wakana Arshu ala what? Then before you be talking about it. So when we say Allah is Sama, it does not mean Allah in the 7th heaven. Allah cannot be inside heaven. Because heaven is limited, even with their massive size. They are still limited. They are still limited to, isn't it? But for Allah, no what? No limit. We just talk about some of the creation of Allah that can contain all this creation itself. So some try to do what in other words, they want to negate the attribute of Allah. But the way they say it, they will not say it directly that this is what they do or that's their intention. But their description, it means what you have just said now. And some do what? Tashbih. And some, the way they do ta'atil of the name of Allah is to do tahrif of the verse of Allah. They will change the meaning of the verse of Allah, like I have just said now. So some do tahwil. In other words, they try to give meaning to some of the mutashabihat. You understand? When we say tahwil, it does not mean the word tahwil itself is a condemnable word or concept in Islam. No. Ta'wil is when you try to understand the origin of something. It's from the word awwala yu'awwilu tahwilan. You understand? You want to go to the beginning of something, isn't it? But can you read the beginning of Allah? Can you know the origin of Allah? It does not even have that origin. Wal awwal wal akhir al-zahir. So doing ta'wil about Allah or what is beyond Allah, so it is false. But you can actually need to ta'wil in some area that are open, like logic. Like even Allah wants us to use logic. But for the verses that are mutashabihat, you don't use logic there. So you just limit to yourself to the information that you are provided with. But for every other thing, we are sensible and we are requested to use your logic. When they say, Inna fi khalqi samawati wal ard wa ikhtilafi al-layli wal nahar والفلك التي تجري في البحر وما أنزل الله من السماء من ماء فأحيا به الأرض. Then he said at the end of that, I said, إن في ذلك لآيات لقوم what? People that have sense, people that use their sense. The meaning is that you use what you see to know or to judge what you don't see. Like I have said, the whole of this universe, the cosmos, the heart, everything. Nobody has come forward. I have never seen. Have you ever seen somebody that said, I created it? Even when Fir'aun was claiming to be the author, he was limiting himself to Misr, to Egypt. He never said he's the creator of the heaven and earth. He never said it. Even Namrud, he limited himself to his kingdom. He limited himself to his kingdom. There has never been in history that somebody will come forward and say, I created the heaven and earth. Even today, some people lied against a servant of Allah, a prophet of Allah, Prophet Isa, that he is God. But he never claimed, in fact, he never claimed to be what he claimed. They may say it on his behalf, but he himself never said it. On the day of Qiyamah, Allah will invite him, Anta qulta linnasi ittakhiduni wa ummi ilahayn min dunillah. So he never said it. There is no statement correct that he cannot possibly say it because he's a prophet of Allah. Inni abidullahi atani al-what? Waja'alani. So this is what he said. So I am a servant of Allah, Abdullah, and he made me a prophet. Fundamentally, he is a Abdullah. Fundamentally, then prophethood or messengerhood came later, and Allah gave him. So what we are saying actually is that so nobody has claimed and nobody can claim. Now Allah has claimed several times, time without number, in the Quran. He said, I am the creator of the heaven and earth. I am the one that make all this to happen several times in the Quran. Allah said it. Even let's assume somebody has claimed that. Let's say for once. Can the person come publicly without being what? Without being antagonized? Without being refuted? But this is Allah who has said it several times without number. Now, if Allah is the one that created this and He has said it openly and clearly, then if He can see the complexity, if He can see the mightiness of His creation, that should be enough for us to believe in Him and His power and what He can do. If somebody fights you and beats a hell out of you, and tell you, say, I'll beat a hell out of you, will you still doubt it? Will you doubt it when he has already beat a hell out of you? You cannot doubt it now because he has already done, he has proved it. Now Allah has proved his power. He has proved his knowledge. He has proved his sublimity. He has proved everything from what he created. Now, if there is something that it tests you, even if it's beyond your comprehension, even beyond your, you should believe it. Because he has no reason to lie. He has no reason to deceive you. Because he's not in competition with anybody. The king or emperors in this world, they can lie. They can deceive. They can make propaganda because they are in competition. Like we know what is going on in Iran and the USA now. We have seen a number of times when the superpower lies and say what did not happen because he wants to make it to appear to people that they are still what, they are still ahead. Isn't it? Why is he doing that? Because they are in competition with some other power. There are still some other superpower. They are still what, isn't it? But for Allah, who is in competition with him? Do you know Allah's rival? No. Namrud, when he attempted to do that, he was defeated by Ibrahim. He said, who is your Lord? He said, Rabbi Yaledi Ayuyi. What you mean? My Lord is the one that give life and take life. He said, Anna Uyi wa umit. I also do that. He said, okay, let me see how you do it. If it is true. He said, get me 2 prisoners. He asked them to kill one and to spare one. He said, look at it. I kill this one, I will make this one to live. Prophet Ibrahim said, if I should continue in this line of argument in this one, so it is very clear that this one doesn't get it. He changed the argument. He said, my own Lord that I am describing, Yati bi Shamsi, min al-Mashriki, Fati biha. My Lord I am talking about that I say is give light and take light. He make the sun to rise from where? From the east. Oh yeah, you reverse that order, reverse it. Let it start to refer to rise from where? From the west and set from where? In the east. He cannot make another statement. He became dumbfounded. He cannot continue there. And for Allah, he has done it several times, he has claimed to be doing it. So like you have said, Allah has given us evidence and proof to believe in his power and his knowledge. But when it comes to his true nature, like we have already mentioned, it is something that is beyond our comprehension. Not that Allah doesn't want us to know it, but we cannot know it. We should realize the fact that we are limited by our creation. We are limited by our what? When Musa requested to see Allah, Allah told him, doesn't Allah love Prophet Musa? Didn't Allah talk to him? وَكَلَّمَ اللَّهُ Musa? Didn't Allah do that? But when he requested, by his nature, Allah said, لَن تَرَانِي. You don't have the capacity. You don't have the quality. You don't have the feature to see me physically in this world. And let me prove it to you. انظر إلى الجبل. Continue to look at this mountain. فإن استقر مكانه فسوف تراني. If that mountain still remains the way it is, then you will see. فلما تجلى ربه للجبل جعله. So when Allah radiates His light, hijabuhu nurun. His hijab is light. If He is to remove that light, that hijab, everything in existence will be set ablaze. Out of the what? So let me ask you something. The sun, is it not bright? Is its heat not hot? So who created it? If Allah told you He has light, do you think the light of Allah will be equivalent to the light of the sun? Can you open your eyes to the sun during the hot day, during the sunny day? You cannot do that. And sun is one of the smallest stars Allah created in the universe. Which means we still have some stars that are brighter than that. Isn't it? Now Allah says He has no. Can we compare it to the created nur of other creatures? So now Allah told Musa, you can't see me. Meaning you don't have that capacity. This is your so high. There are some beings, their eyes is even bigger. They can even see better than you. Do you know there are some animals that they can see better than you? You can only see when there is light. You cannot see in darkness. Even with that, there is a distance you can see. Immediately you go beyond certain distance, you can no more see. So is that the same height? You think here you have quality? Allah said, you can't see me. You don't have that ability. So when he saw that, then he seek forgiveness from Allah. So but for you to know that Allah has, and Allah is saying it true, He does not have anybody to compete with. He is not in rivalry with anybody. He owns everything. He is the Malik. He is the Malik. He is the what? He is the Mudabbir. He is the owner. He is the creator. He is the king. He controls everything. He created everything. Everything belongs to him. He judges. He controls everything. Then where is the competition? So we have no reason to doubt what he tells us about himself. We have no reason. It does not make any sense for anybody to doubt it. Because there is no point and there is no chances of doubting what he said. Now, how do we believe in what he said about himself? The way we are supposed to believe is actually the point we are talking about. That you should limit yourself to what Allah said about himself. Don't go to what he did not tell us about himself. In other words, don't give him the name he does not give himself. So some people say, my language, I have name for Allah. Then I will ask you, where is the evidence in Quran or Hadith that says you should call Allah by your name? This is my language. We understand language, but you don't translate name to language. You don't translate name. You only translate other things, but for name, let us say somebody author a book and he wrote his name there. Then somebody want to translate that book to another language. Do you think they will translate his name? Not only his name, even all the names in the content of the book. Do you think they will translate it? They will not translate it. They will only translate the message in it. Then why do you now think it is proper? If you cannot translate names of created being of Allah, how do you now think it is proper to translate the name of the Creator? Is that not Shaitan deceiving us? Because Shaitan can deceive. He can make us to believe what is not true. He can make something that is bad to appear what? To appear good. That there is no problem with that. What is wrong about that? You have started. You are too extreme. You say we should not call Allah in our own name. This is how we call Allah. But look at the analogy. Something you don't like for yourself. How do you like it for Allah? He said his name is Allah. He has been Allah since eternity. In the past, and he will continue to be Allah. And all the book, all the messenger, all the prophet, even some people call him whatever name they call him today. Wallahi, that is not. Let them provide the original book. Provide the original book that Allah revealed to his messenger, and let's see what is the name. You see, it is Allah. His name doesn't change. So if people have changed it for their own personal or political or whatever reason, that is their own problem. الَّذِينَ يَكْتُبُونَ الْكِتَابَ بِأَيْدِيهِمْ ثُمَّ يَقُولُونَ هَذَا مِنْ what? فَوَيْلٌ لِلَّذِينَ يَكْتُبُونَ الْكِتَابَ بِأَيْدِيهِمْ. So they wrote it by themselves. They changed it, they translate it for a reason that is best known to them. But for Allah, that is his name. That is the name when was revealed to Adam. That was the name that was revealed to Prophet Nuh. That was the name that was revealed to Prophet Ibrahim, Prophet Musa, Prophet Isa, Prophet Muhammad, and all the prophets and messengers. It is Allah. It has never changed. So if it was Allah during the time of Nuh, Ibrahim, Saleh, Hud, Musa, Isa, then how would the name change from you? You as who? How would the name change from you? You as who? So Allah's name is not supposed to be changed. Like you have said, one of the area people have called Bidiah is what? Is Sifatullah, the attribute of Allah. Another area where people also introduce Bidiah to this our religion is the nature of the Quran. The Tabi'atul Quran. So what is the nature of the Quran? So we have some people. I'm being notified our time is up, so we leave that topic till tomorrow. Inshallah, we discuss it so that we will have to have enough time to talk about it. So we stop on this note and continue from there tomorrow. Inshallah. Subhanaka Allahumma wa bihamdik. Ashhadu an la ilaha illa anta astaghfiruka wa atubu ilayk. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
جزاكم خير. الحمد لله رب العالمين والعاقبة للمتقين ولا عدوان إلا على الظالمين. We ask Allah Ta'ala to reward our stars abundantly, and we ask Allah Ta'ala to preserve him upon goodness. I pray to Allah Ta'ala to grant us better understanding of our religion. If there is any question from the audience,
So when you are talking about the name of Allah, you said Allah. Which language is Allah? It is Like, do you mean that Almighty Allah will reveal Arabic to those prophets, even they are not Arab? Or, like, what do you know of Allah? Is this Arabic or which one it is?
Allahu is an Arabic language. And revealing a name in a particular language, just like you have said now. So, like I said now, you can speak your language and mention somebody's name in his own language and it will not affect anything. Is that not true? Is it not true? So, let's say you write a book, and the language with which you write your book, somebody's name is mentioned here, and it's not in this. The language is not the same language with which. So it will not affect anything. So the name of Allah is always Allah from beginning, and it will always be Allah. So Allah's name doesn't change. I hope you understand. It does not change. And more so, the majority of the prophets of Allah, let me tell you something. There is no prophet of Allah from Africa actually. I don't know whether there is anyone. I don't think there's any prophet of Allah from Africa. I don't know. Let me assume I don't know. And I've never heard the story of any prophet of Allah from the American continent or from the West. Majority of prophets of Allah, they are from the Middle East. And that is why the story of mankind, that is why history of mankind started. And the language they speak in Middle East, they call it Semitic language, and their sister language. There is only small difference with it. Hebrew, which is the language of Prophet Musa, Al-Ibriya, is very, very close to Arabic. Most of the words are the same. Most of the words. The same thing. Prophet Isa, what is the language? Aramaic. Aramaic is a very close sister to Arabic language. Prophethood, Arab. Even Prophet Ibrahim in Iraq is still Middle East. Also speak Aramaic. Prophet Yusuf, Prophet Dawud. Don't forget that Prophet Ibrahim, they are the same. In fact, Prophet Ibrahim is all prophets after Prophet Ibrahim, they came from where? From Prophet Ibrahim. Isaac and what? Ismail. Ismail was the father of Arab, and Isaac is the father of what? Yaqub is the father of Israel. But for the what? For the prophet that came through Israel, they are from what? They are from Israel. And they speak similar language. Sister language. Language that's very similar. In other words, it should not be difficult for us to understand that it is still Allah in those languages. Maybe that is one of the reasons why majority of the prophet of Allah, in fact, if we have to group the prophet and messenger of Allah by tribes or nations, is from Banu Israel. Thousands of messengers of Allah. Majority of where the prophet of Allah come from Banu Israel. And they speak what? Hebrew or Aramaic, which is a sister language to what? To Arabic. So Allah there is Allah here. Kalbu there is Kalbu here. Rama there is Rama here. Ilahu there is Ilahu here. It's the same thing. So it shouldn't be difficult for us to understand. Even Noah, they spoke similar language. And for her, we should not doubt that his language is Arabic. Because he was created in Jannah. And the language of people of Jannah is what? Is what?
Arabic.
Is what?
Arabic.
Or do you think it will be another language?
No, because I heard some scholars say that it's not authentic.
It's the Arabic. That's the language of people of Jannah. People of Jannah are actually going to speak Arabic. That's the language you are going to speak. So there's no doubt about it that majority of the prophets of Allah, they are from that area, and this language they speak their sister language, and the name of Allah is always Allah. And even if they are to come from Africa, I didn't say they have, but let's assume they come from Africa. It should not be difficult for us to understand that the name Allah is Allah. That you maintain somebody's name in its original form, even when you speak different language. English, is it Arabic? Is Allah, is it English? But we still speak it and we understand. Isn't it? So it's not difficult to understand.
Now, my question is that when the lecture is going on, sir, you mentioned tashbih and tanfeel. I want you to help us to differentiate between them.
Tashbih is to liken something to another thing. Is to liken. And in this case, it's like you are given quality of one thing to another. You understand? In Arabic language or in literature generally, there are two major ways in which tashbih is done. So it's actually a literary device. Like in English language, they call it simile or metaphor. You understand? So the same thing in Arabic language. So if, like you said, if you say somebody is Asad, if you say Huwa Asad, yeah, this person is what? He's a lion. You are actually liking him to lion. You are saying he has quality of what? Lion. Or lion has his quality, but in most cases his quality of lion he has. So if you introduce kafun, which is adapted tashbih, it's still the same thing. But one is more eloquent than another. But when you say temthil is not actually liking. It's just like you are making something to be in place of another thing. You know, if you say somebody is lion, are you putting lion in his place? Or are you putting him in lion's place? Are you doing that? You're only giving quality of lion or giving lion. Is it that? But temthil is that you are putting that thing in place of another thing. Like Allah talking about mathal in the Quran. Mathal, this is an example of this. You understand? And mathal is used that something is far from you. Then I now give you something that is close to you so that you used to understand something that is far from you. That is mathal. So misli is that you are putting something in place of another thing. That is why Allah used that laysa kamithlihi as if he's talking about mithlu and he's also talking about tashbih. Because kaf there is actually a tashbih. You understand? So there's nothing like that is like unto him. There's nothing that is similar to him. You understand? No.
Now, in the case of no more questions, inshallah, stop it for today. We ask Allah to reward our staff abundantly and grant us better understanding of our religion. Subhanahu wa ta'ala, Assalamu alaikum. Assalamu alaikum.